My name is Nico Steves. Podcasts this summer season will run 15 minutes each in a re-release of my book, The Constant Procession, the history of the Virgin Mary since she passed on. I'd like to thank you for your listening to these weekly Constant Procession podcasts, and also for purchasing plus spreading the word about my book, The Very Fine Light, which is available on Amazon.com. This summer I'll also be traveling to complete my next book, and I will be bringing you a few reports from the field about this upcoming book. And so, please keep checking my website, nicosteves.com, as I will be posting blog updates from time to time. By the way, keep me posted on what you're up to in the comments section of my website or via email at nicosteves@gmail.com. And now enjoy installment 7 of The Constant Procession. Bishop Zumarraga puts into works the immediate building of a small chapel on the spot until plans for a much larger, more worthy shrine could be built. Juan, by this time, wondered about his uncle. He did not doubt the lady, but wanted to see him. The bishop had an honor guard accompany Juan home. As they arrived, the village crowded around Juan Diego. His uncle, now recovered, stood up. Juan tells him everything that happened. To his astonishment, Juan's uncle related quite a story himself. After Juan left, his uncle said that he felt too weak to get the medicine left for him. His uncle felt that the end had arrived. At that moment, his room filled with light, and a beautiful lady appeared to him. Light emanated from her. His uncle's pains suddenly left him. He felt that his sickness had been taken away from him. He fell to his knees. The lady told him that she had been with Juan and had sent him off to the bishop. The lady also tells his uncle what she wishes to be called. The interpreter for the bishop thought the uncle attempted to say, "The ever-Virgin Holy Mary of Guadalupe." This shocked the bishop, as he recognized the name Guadalupe, believing it to be none other than the name of the famous Marian shrine from distant Spain, and from the official transcript of the events, known as the Nacun Methode, found in the Basilica in Mexico City. I wish that a temple be erected here quickly, so I may therein exhibit and give all my love, compassion, help, and protection, because I am your merciful mother, to you and to all the inhabitants on this land, and all the rest who love me, invoke and confide in me, to listen therein to their lamentations, and remedy all their miseries, afflictions, and sorrows. Construction of a temporary shrine began at once, with a more permanent one to follow. Today, this is one of the most visited basilicas in the world. But today, it is no longer on the outskirts of town, thanks to the urban sprawl of this growing megapolis of 14+ million people. As you approach the grounds, which are surrounded by a tall fence, you will find a hustle-bustle outside the gate. There is a carnival-like atmosphere, with shops and tents that line the surrounding streets to accommodate the legions of visitors who come. Outside, vendors hawk trinkets and all the associated souvenirs you would expect to find at any tourist spot. These activities, as you approach the gates, tend to overshadow one's expectation of a serene atmosphere associated with an apparition site. But once inside the gates, with the exception of a few out-of-place vendors who have encroached, that offer opportunities to take your picture adorned with a festive sombrero as you climb the stone steps up to the hilltop. Outside of this distraction, everything else becomes more subtle and humble. You find a respite from the outside helter-skelter world. At the base of the hill is the traditional sanctuary built in 1706 with its noticeable lean to the left. At the time of my visit, it had been undergoing renovations to reinforce its foundation. To the left of this sanctuary is the newer sanctuary. It is of a modernist style and design, completed in 1976 to replace the leaning sanctuary. The modernist style is a great surprise and departure in look and feel from the more traditional design, but that difference dissolves as you enter this newer sanctuary. The sanctuary's design makes possible several purposes. In addition to offering a place to pray, it is where St. Juan Diego's tilma is on display. Hence, the tilma is the center of attention as you walk into this large, very open sanctuary. Also, the space is designed to hold a huge number of people, up to 40,000 people at a time, with temporary seating in place. Yet within the design is a clever twist, which gives people a way to get a closer look at the tilma. Confessions and Mass are held all day, most every day. Some of these ceremonies are at established times, some are unannounced. There are formal gatherings, there are informal gatherings, there are spontaneous gatherings too on the vast plaza. It is a constant procession, well documented by an endless number of glowing candles. As each candle is lit, someone's prayer emanates from this placid site where the Madonna wishes for the people to come. There are other structures on the ground as well. Most important is the small chapel at the top of the hill where St. Diego met with the Madonna. The rocky surface of the hillside is covered with flowers and fauna to honor the Madonna. It is not unusual to find a monk or priests engaged in conversation or meditation all around the grounds with the people who come. And Our Lady of Guadalupe has ever since that faithful day in 1531 afforded this restful contemplative space that has drawn people from around the world and from all walks of life to come to Mexico City to ask the Lady to intercede with her Son to answer their prayers. Though located in Mexico and embraced by the Latino world, the shrine Our Lady of Guadalupe is a wonderful gift for all mankind. Chapter 13. A Rare Gift. St. Juan Diego lived out the rest of his life at the site as its caretaker. He would tell his stories to the pilgrims who came. More devoted than ever to the Lady, he dedicated himself to the Lady and had been granted permission to receive the sacrament of communion more often than had been offered to the average person in those times. In 1570, 40 years after the apparition, the new Archbishop of Mexico commissions a painter to create a copy of the image left on the tilma by the Madonna. Upon completion, and with great care, they placed it on the original as a way of gathering to the copy something from the original. The bishop sent this copy to King Philip I of Spain as a gift. This happens at a critical time in the history of the world as the Ottoman success in Europe grew. Europeans had lost control of the Balkans for well over a century. The Ottomans' aggression had been ceaseless. In fact, the Ottomans held a stranglehold on most of the Mediterranean Sea. The Ottomans had a mighty navy that controlled the Mediterranean for almost 100 years as well. In a last-ditch effort to stave off a repeat of the Moors' takeover earlier in Spain from centuries before, the remaining Europeans, who fought amongst themselves, realized they had to be able to come together, and came together under leadership from Rome. They put together a consortium of European interests known as the Holy Alliance. Its main contributors are the Spanish, the Viennese, and the Romans. Among those considered to lead this alliance at sea is the grandnephew of the great Admiral Doria, who they select as Admiral of the fleet of warships. His warships form part of this new alliance. The overall alliance leader is Don Juan. It is not hard to imagine why King Philip would give Admiral Doria this painted copy of Our Lady of Guadalupe that the Archbishop of Mexico had sent. Even before the battle would commence, the odds for victory favored the Ottomans. The Ottomans had very experienced sailors and seasoned captains from around the Ottoman Empire, who had the benefit of years of success in the Mediterranean. They held all the aces in the deck when compared to the ragtag collection of privateers that the Holy Alliance had gathered. Admiral Doria puts this painting from Mexico in his stateroom. Before embarking on their mission against the Ottomans, the admiral prays under the well-traveled painting to Our Lady of Guadalupe as they head out to sea to fight the powerful adversary. The battle occurs at the far eastern side of the Mediterranean Sea, near Istanbul, then known as Constantinople, near a place called Lipan. The great surprise is the Holy Alliance defeats the Ottomans in the battle. They win the day against all odds to defeat the more experienced, powerful navy. The victory, known as the Battle of Lipan, is a blow to the fortunes of the Ottoman Empire on European soil. In the history books, this defeat has been attributed to poor timing and tidal changes. The Ottomans still ruled and controlled most of the Balkans on the Eastern European continent until just after World War I. Yet this defeat in the 1600s is considered the start of the end to this particular Islamic expansion into Europe. To many, Santa Maria de Guadalupe is credited with the favorable turn of events. Chapter 14. Warmth is her way. There appears to be a constant within each encounter, wherever and whenever they occur. Aware of the vastness of the gulf between God and people, and, perhaps out of her maternal love for us, her children, she comes in a gentle, graceful manner before her seers. Just as one approaches an unfamiliar place, in silence, choosing one's steps with great care, not brash, not boisterous, options at her disposal, but rather, when she first approaches, it is as a diplomat, always in a dialect of her seer's native tongue. She spans the chasm of time and space, the here and now, for humans within the infinity of her life. Examples to her way abound. "Where are you going, Juanito?" she asks of Juan Diego. "Had we known who she was, we would have asked her to take us with her," remarked Maximin Girard, one of the seers from La Salette. Bernadette Sauvignon, seers from the Lourdes apparition, said after her first encounter with the Madonna, "I only wanted to be part of her peace." In 1664, she appears once again with her graceful approach. As I looked into the remarkable story of Juan Diego, and to the hidden icon of the Black Madonna found by Gil Cadero in his encounter with the Madonna, I began to consider the Madonna's impact on the world of yesterday. I also found it curious that so few stories have been done about such events in our times. Our Lady of Guadalupe, for those who are familiar with this apparition, will associate it with South America, the country of Mexico in particular. But there appears to be a connected history. I endeavored to continue on my quest. The history took me to the first apparition that the Roman Catholic Church recognized, Our Lady of Laus, which took place in 1664 near the French Alps, not far from Gap, France, in a little settlement called Dauphine. A chapel dedicated to the Annunciation, translated as Our Lady of the Good Encounter, had already been there before this apparition occurred. The Madonna told her seer, "I asked my son for Lars, for the conversion of sinners, and he granted it to me." The apparitions of Our Lady of Lars between 1664 and 1718 in Saint Etienne-le-Laurs, France, are between her and a young girl, Benoit Recule, who's a young shepherdess. Benoit's experiences first gained recognition by her local diocese of the Roman Catholic Church on September 18th, 1665. Worthy of note, this is the first Marian apparition to be approved in the 21st century by the Roman Catholic Church itself on May 5th, 2008. Over 120,000 people come to visit this apparition site each year. In May of 1664, Benoit, then 17, is praying the rosary, which is her favorite devotion, while watching her flock. All of a sudden, a majestic-looking old man appears, clothed in the vestments of a bishop of the ancient church. He came up to her and said, "My daughter, what are you doing here?" I'm watching my sheep, praying to God, and looking for water to drink." "I'll get some for you," replied the old man. And he went to the edge of a well that Benoit had not noticed. "You're so beautiful," she said. "Are you an angel or Jesus?" "I am Maurice, to whom the nearby chapel," which was then in ruins, "is dedicated." "My daughter, do not come back to this place. It is part of a different territory, and the guards would take your flock if they found it here. Go to the valley above Saint Etienne, which is where you will see the Mother of God." "But, sir, she is in heaven. How can I see her here?" "Yes," Maurice replies, then says, "She is in heaven, and on earth when she wants to be." The next morning, Benoit shepherded her flock to the indicated spot, the Vallon de Fleurs, or Valley of Kilns, so called because the hill above this valley contained gypsum, which the village inhabitants extracted and fired to make plaster for their buildings. Benoit had just located the little grotto when she saw a lady of incomparable beauty holding a beautiful child by the hand. The sight ravished her. Despite St. Maurice's prediction, the shepherdess could not imagine that she could be in the presence of the Mother of God. Well, this is Nico Steves. I hope you enjoyed this installment. My book, The Very Fine Light, can be found using the title, The Very Fine Light, on Amazon.com. Please feel free to contact me at nicosteves.com. That's Nikos Steves, Steves.com. If you like this episode, and for more, share them with friends. Well, this is Nico Steves. Thank you. See you next time.